Hi everyone, welcome back to the Car Cave. Now, before we get started, I want to say a huge thank you to Porsche of Ontario, who have provided us with these two 911s, as well as let us use their facility. They're a relatively new Porsche dealership here in Ontario, California. They do fantastic work, amazing service team, and a great sales team as well, so I highly recommend them. This is where I actually bring my own car, so I'm definitely doing what I preach. So, there's a stigma that I wanted to address today, which is that all 911s are the same. And the fact of the matter is they're not all the same. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So what I have behind me is two different generations of the Porsche 911. We have the 991.2 generation over here and the current generation, the 992. Now, both of these are 911 4Ss. So let's do a really quick introduction. This is a 991.2 2017 Porsche 911. It's got a twin turbocharged flat six that produces 420 brake horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. It drives all four wheels, actually, it's a 4S, via either a 7-speed auto or a 7-speed manual. It does 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. This is a 992 generation, 911 4S. It's got a twin turbocharged 3-liter flat six, drives all four wheels via an 8-speed automatic gearbox or a manual 7-speed. It does 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. Now keep in mind, those facts and figures are based on PDK with Sport Chrono and launch control. So we're gonna run through a couple of things that changed between the 991.2 generation and the current gen 992. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So one of the visual changes that you're gonna notice in the 992 is it has a wider track. Now, it's a little bit less clear with these two that I have because previously the wider track was something that you got with all four-wheel drive models, your 911-4, your 911-4S, and your turbos. But now it comes standard on all 911s. Beyond that, this rear quarter panel used to be composed of steel. On the 992 generation, it's now aluminum. It used to be pretty much the only steel component on the body before, and now it's all aluminum. That saves a whopping 20 pounds, 20 to 22 pounds on each car. That's a huge weight savings. Now these 911s are of course intercooled, but with the new 911 in true German fashion, they're more intercooled. And because it is a Porsche and precision is the way of life, it's 12% more intercooled, which helps the 992 generation modulate the intake air temperature a little bit more efficiently. Now in the interiors where you see a lot of the changes between the two generations, you have a much more modern looking interior on the 992. You've got these nice knurled edges on a lot of the buttons. They're really nice to the touch. They look very good. They look very modern. And something that you'll notice straight away is there's no large gear selector for the PDK. You have this little thing, I don't really know what to call it. And it's not just an aesthetic, it's not the same transmission. The 991.2 had what's called PDK-1. The 992 has PDK-2. And this is a transmission that's actually borrowed from the Porsche Panamera. The 8th gear is slotted between where the 6th and 7th gear used to be on the 991.2. And it wasn't done for the reason you might think. It wasn't for better fuel efficiency or even for better performance. It was done because that transmission is smaller. So it saves space. Why they did that? Some people are saying that it's potentially to make space for a battery. Maybe a future 911 is going to be hybrid powered. But a side effect of that smaller transmission is there's more space on the center console for a cup holder. Now I come to you from the back seats of the 911. I did have to remove a portion of my legs and most of my dignity to get back here, but the good news is the back seats are still present in the 992. So if you do have small children, or if you don't mind not walking around anywhere, you can always have some people sitting back here. But another interesting thing about the 992 is you get an additional driving mode. You get wet mode. There are some sensors in the front wheel wells that will detect splatter, water splatter, as you're driving about. So the car will suggest driving in wet mode, which will change a bunch of the driving assistance settings to better favor those driving conditions. Now on the rear end of the car, there are some pretty noticeable changes. Aesthetically, you have the light bar across the back end of the 991.2, but it definitely looks a lot more thought out on the 992, whereas here it looked like a kind of last minute addition. The rear wing, which does sit flush with the body when you want it to, is a bit smaller on the 991.2, has much more surface area on the 992. Exhaust-wise, the 991.2 has these two great central exhaust tips, whereas the standard exhaust is actually quad-tipped on this generation. And a nice interesting feature on the 992 that was explained to me by a previous owner is this top section here. Now, if you count these, there's 9 on the left, 9 on the right, and 2 large slots down the center, and that's supposed to be a 911, which is a pretty cool feature. Thanks so much for watching, guys. That pretty much concludes it for today. We're gonna have some more videos of the 911 moving forward, so leave me a comment on what you'd like to see, what you enjoyed and what you didn't. Like the video if you liked the video, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thanks so much, and do take care.